System malfunctioning. Rogue mixer drone detected. Serious trauma detected. System back online.
What is going on, everybody? Phoenix Gaming here. Thank you for stopping by, and today we are going to be going over the build that everyone has been requesting on this channel. And I just want to preface this video before we actually start getting into the build itself that in all honesty, this is a very generic DPS build. Why everyone wants to see this build so much, I'm not fully aware of, but you've all have been asking for it. There have been a lot of questions regarding about what I used, and you know, it's gonna not be a surprise. So with that being said, if you're looking for something special regarding this build, but it's going to be the same generic build that you've seen over the past few months about DPS builds, then I wouldn't recommend this video for you. However, if you're still not quite sure how everyone's getting high damage numbers, how everyone is speccing out their M1As or speccing out their loadouts, then I would recommend you watch this and watch it through its entirety as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with going through the build. Now, as you saw through the gameplay footage beforehand, you saw that I was wiping out floor 100 with ease in my location that I went over in another video about how to solo the floor 100, how to take out the hunters with ease, and how to get those high damage numbers. Like, that was all from the gameplay footage that you just saw. So as you can see on the screen here, we have the build that I was running during that time. So you know what, let's get right into this. So for the first thing I'm running is my classic M1A. It's not completely rolled, it's not a god roll, but it does have 10% damage to target out of cover. And then I do have the talent boomerang on it, where it is critical hits, save a 50% chance, have a 50% chance to return the bullet to the magazine. If a bullet is returned to the magazine, the next shot has 40% increased damage. Okay, and then for my second weapon, I have a god rolled military P416 with 10% critical hit damage on it, and then with adding killing an enemy with a critical hit grants 40% critical hit damage for 10 seconds. Now, you can run any type of secondary weapon you want. You can run an SMG, you can run an assault rifle. It's all depending on what you want to use. I use the military P416 just because it does have a lower RPM, but it does have a higher damage output than the FAMAS. I would recommend using a FAMAS though, because it does have a higher RPM and the running fast hands on it. For me though, if you can proc killer consistently, it will benefit you in the long run when it comes to outputting DPS. Alright, so for the mask, we are running a 2-piece striker set. And we'll get into the reason why I'm doing this and not running a high end. But for the striker's mask, we're doing the 2-piece for that 15% weapon handling. We've got a 14.1% weapon damage, a rolled 6% critical hit chance, and then we have a modded 11.4% critical hit damage. For the chest, we are running an Overlord armament with 2Ps. So we've got the 10% rifle damage, 20% accuracy, 12.4% weapon damage, 9.8% critical hit damage, 6% critical hit chance, and 11.2% critical hit damage. We are running the talent focus, increase total weapon damage by 5% every second you are aiming while scoped 8 times or higher, up to 50%. If you want to run, let's say, perfect focus with the Araldi holdings, you could do that for 60%. Just keep in mind you're not going to get much of a brand set or much of a talent from the brand set, because the first talent on it is 10% marksman rifle damage. So you have to pick and choose your battles with this. Ultimately, you are still getting 60% total weapon damage because you are running a 10% rifle damage along with the 50% focus. Next, we're running a reconnaissance holster from the Seska Virobra SRO, 10% critical hit chance, 50% weapon damage, 12% critical hit damage rolled, 6% critical hit chance, so it's completely god rolled. Next, we are running the Grupo Sombra backpack, 50% critical hit damage, 14% weapon damage, 11.6% critical hit damage, 6% critical hit chance rolled, and then 11.2% critical hit damage with vigilance. Increase total weapon damage by 25%. Taking damage disables this buff for 4 seconds. Now, after the title update 11 update, we are now allowed to run generic mods. So this used to be a yellow mod and you would not benefit from it at all. Now you can benefit from the Grupo Sombra, which ultimately is the best in slot now, not the gift. So because you're able to get that critical hit damage, you're able to use a red mod now with this backpack, which just makes complete and utter sense. So I would recommend you try and find the Grupo Sombra backpack, the Entumbra backpack. Find this, use it, because it will benefit you in the end. Now, if you don't want to run this backpack, you could definitely run Memento. Memento is a very good best in slot type backpack because you are getting 15% weapon damage, you are getting armor, and you are getting your skill tier. And if you're going to be running a shield with this, you already have the shield tiers as well. And yet, if you run Technician, that's a 3+ on the skill tier for that shield alone. So just keep that in mind. If you're not good at straight DPS and going against the enemies and feel like you're getting melted, then I would recommend you run Memento, attach a critical hit damage mod here, and then you'll be good to go because of the kill confirmed talents and the maximum 30 stacks of weapon damage that you could possibly get. So keep that in mind. If you don't have Memento, that's a level 90 exotic drop from the season pass, and then once you have it drop, you can get it from the open world. Next, we are running the Striker's Battle Gear Gloves. We have a god roll, 50% weapon damage with a roll to 6% critical hit chance. And then lastly, we are running Fox's Prayer, god roll, 50% weapon damage, 8% damage to target out of cover, which is multiplicative, and then 6% critical hit chance. For the skills, I go between using the decoy against the hunters. That way all of their skills and direction is towards the decoy itself. And then we are using the Reviver Hive as well. Use the Reviver Hive for your legendary part, decoy during the hunters, because if you notice about the gameplay footage that was shown earlier before all this, you'll see that I was hugging the right side of the wall and I was able to scope and switch opposite sides, scope in and just aim at the hunters while they were taking cover, and using the decoy so that everything, all of their skills were aimed towards the decoy rather than at myself. I have a completely maxed out Shade Watch. If you haven't done this yet, I highly recommend you get to your Shade level 1000 because these offensive benefits really help you in the long run. So now you're probably wondering, okay, why are you not running a high-end mask and high-end gloves? Ultimately, it is better to run a high-end mask and gloves because you'll get more bonuses, but because I'm running the Striker 2-piece, I'm getting 50% weapon handling. And with the buff to weapon handling back in title update 10, when Warlords of New York launched, you're receiving more of a benefit when using the 15% weapon handling. So if we go into our stats and we go down to There we go. We're in our offensive right now. Okay, in our weapon stat. So we have 50% weapon handling. We also have 15% swap speed. We also have 40% stability. We also have 45% accuracy. We also have 25% reload speed. And as you can see, each of these is working with the Striker's Battlefield weapon handling, because weapon handling encompasses all of these different traits. So weapon handling is a pretty strong talent. It's definitely something I would recommend using if you're not good at aiming and if you're not good with your accuracy with using weapons, is using that two-piece weapon, two-piece striker for the Striker's battle gear, because it encompasses so much that it makes sense to use if you're not as good, let's say with a controller or a mouse and keyboard. This will give you, those kind of boost your experience level by using the weapon handling to benefit yourselves. Now, ultimately, if you don't want to run Strikers two-piece, then you don't have to. I would recommend you find let's say a Providence mask or a God rolled rapid deployment mask from the Seska Rebro, or a Grupo Sombra, and just try and get it as God rolled as possible. For the gloves, don't run your contractor's gloves. They're only used better for a group setting, because it is just damage to armor. And if you look at it, it doesn't really matter, especially if you're running solo. I would recommend you try and find a different set. So Providence gloves, Cheska gloves, or Grupo gloves. But other than that, guys, and also just to touch on, we are running the sharpshooter specialization. This will allow you for better target acquisition. This also adds to your weapon stability, weapon handling as well, and also for your accuracy. And it's a good specialization to use when using classic M1A, because for the mods on the M1A, you are using the digital scope. And this gets confused for a lot of people, because once they see this scope, they think you are running a sniper build, and it's not. You're using it onto a classic M1A. We're also using tightly packed marksman mag with 5+ rounds, and then we're using the 5% critical hit chance as well. So other than that, guys, I mean, that is the build that I use to solo the summit. That's the build that I use to solo legendaries. I have another build in the works right now for the backfire exotic SMG, so I will keep in tune for that, because that's going to be very, very special. But yeah, I mean, other than that, guys, that is the build in a nutshell. Overall, it's a straight DPS, high crit chance, high DPS type build. As you can see, I'm maxed out on crit chance, 60% crit chance with 137.2% critical hit damage, 140% headshot damage. I mean, you will melt all of the legendary NPCs. You'll be able to solo the legendaries with ease as long as you know what to do, how to do it. But other than that, guys, I mean, this is the build that a lot of people are going to ask you for. This is the build that I use to run the solo legendaries without an issue, both in the summit and with the strongholds. So definitely let me know in the comment section below how you feel about this build. Are you going to try running it? Is this what you were expecting? Is this what you were hoping for? For all my new subscribers, thank you so much for coming here. If you found this channel, definitely hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you don't miss any more Division 2 content. And then you can also follow me on Twitter. My handle's down there in the left-hand bottom of the screen. And other than that, guys, I mean, that is the build. And I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it helped. And I will catch you around next time. Take care.